Okay, so we can start. Hello, everybody. Glad to see you all. And it's very nice and it's a big pleasure for me to have this webinar. Okay, some people are joining us. I hope it will be more and more this time. So it's good to have this webinar by the end of the year. So thank you very much. I want to thank all the team who was organizing this, because I understand that it's a lot of activity and it's done very well. You see, we are coming. People are coming one by one. Okay, so first of all, it is our last meeting by the end of this year. And what's important, this is the end of the year. So we have less than 1 week to Christmas, couple of less than 10 days to New Year. So it will be the end of 2016. And we are lucky that we are still alive, all of us, because a lot of people didn't survive. And we lost many friends, many colleagues this year, unfortunately. So this is the most important. We are still alive and we are moving forward. And I should tell you that this year was really very, very significant for all the world. It was tremendous transformation of the world's situation this year. And we can only predict what will be next year. You know that the most important on geopolitical horizon was this election of new US President Donald Trump. And I should tell you that by the time of the election, I was in the United States, and it was absolutely unpredictable. Absolutely. We know now how many money, power was involved in the Clinton election, but it totally failed, everything. So Trump was much more clever, much more skilled, and much more successful and helpful, happy than Clinton. So let's see what will be with him, because again, on geopolitical, there's a lot of transformation this year. And I should tell that in the field where we are all together, in the field of energy study, of different transformational study, it was again very important. This year, many conferences, at many meetings, and it was every month, even more than that. It was practically 15 big conferences, and not just counting workshops where I was presenting. So it means that response of the world to our new science, to our new development is really great. And I mean quantum physical approach to medicine. I mean quantum physical approach to biology and to study of our environment. So all together. So in our company, we had a lot of development as well. And we had many new lines developed. Some will be announced by the end of the year, but most only next year. But I should tell you that it was very successful development again. And our Biowell company was really on big scale now, and it is on big scale. So we are coming to this with very good results. The latest was our trip to Bali, Indonesia, where I was invited together with some colleagues to be present at the meeting of Bali sultans and rajas. You know, this country is partly run by Hinduists, partly by Buddhists, partly by Muslims. There are the rajas, and those people decided to organize their own confederation to on the governmental level, and they have some power, they have money, so they want to be presented as some political and social power. And we were invited together with a couple of our colleagues to their gathering And I should tell that I had a feeling like being in medieval century, because we were invited to the palace. It was a beautiful, beautiful palace on the shore of the ocean. It was many, many servants around, more than 50 servants for us. And it was, of course, dinner. It was dances, beautiful dances, and it was many ceremonies. So I was awarded with special diploma. I can show this to you. Please have a look how it looks like. You see, it is all in gold. It is, and together with I was given special decoration. And this is indication of the world interest to our development of energy medicine and energy line. So it's not just myself, it is all that we are doing all together. Because only like community, only like our big group of people who are developing this in the world, we can move it forward on big scale. So at the same time, now we have a group of very interesting scientists, mostly Russian scientists, but who are developing new scientific lines with different sensors, with different instruments. And we are all physicists, technicians, so we are based on measurements. And we try to measure the influence of human energy to environment, to space, and to see how it influences our life, how it influences our health, how it influences space around ourselves. The latest experiment that people are doing, those are experiments with plants, and they are measuring response of different plants to human intentions. You know that it was first Bakst who was doing this type of experiments. You know about this. Then it was published several interesting books about enigmatic life of plants. Now we have very good scientific data that plants has its own nervous system, has its own consciousness, has its own response to environment, and in particular, now we have more and more data that they respond to human environment and human consciousness. Just recently, I met one of my friends who is deputy director of our biggest university. And we were sitting in his office discussing our new projects. And then when I was leaving, he showed me a plant in a pot. And he told, you know what? I was sitting in another office. And this plant was with me for 5 or 6 years. Then I moved to this office, but it was in a hurry, so I just forgot to get this plant. And plant started dying. You know, after 6 years of successful life, it started dying. Then secretary came to this man and told him, okay, maybe you will take this plant to your new office. He took it, put it in the room, in the corner, and in 2 days, plant was alive and again blossoming. So it means that we have consciousness in every cell of our body. We have consciousness in plants. We have consciousness in all living beings. But of course, it's just a different level of consciousness. In one of my books, I propose a concept of levels of consciousness. So what's the difference between ourselves, like human beings, and cats and dogs? Because of course, I hope you agree that no one would that cats and dogs has very highly developed consciousness. So what's the difference? And the difference in the level of consciousness. So we should tell about the first level of consciousness as response of living beings to the environment with conscious change of behavior. And then you understand that every cell, every bacteria, every plant has this type of consciousness. Next level, of course, it is the level when we can not only respond to consciousness, to environment, but predict and plan its behavior in accordance with possible environmental change. And of course, you understand that it's much higher level. So only much higher animals can respond this way. So it may be some vertebrates, it may be fish, it may be snakes, it may be lizards, but this is higher level of consciousness. Then next level, we can tell about human being. So what's the difference? The difference is that we are together, that we communicate with each other, that we can transform our ideas to our next generations, that we have memory and generational memory. That's what we have as human beings, and no other beings have this. At the same time, we can tell about collective consciousness of animals. And you know that collective behavior of ants, bees, wolves, and some other animals, it is very important for them. No bee can exist without beehive, without a group. Same as ants. Same, of course, it's somehow related to our human society, but to some extent. So next we can tell about consciousness of great people, people who are doing something new, who are developing something new, not based on the previous development of civilization. And those are great inventors, those are great painters, great musicians, composers, who are developing something absolutely new. And in our Western civilization, we know them by name in last maybe 3,000-4,000 years. Not all of them, but most of them, or a lot of them. And of course, next level, those are level of people who have connection to higher plane of reality and receiving this information from higher planes of reality can influence big groups of people. And first of all, this is known to us. Prophets like Moses, like Zarathustra, like Buddha, Jesus Christ, Mohammed, some later on some others. We can name them by name. And we understand now, we know now that they had absolutely direct connection with higher planes of reality. So we have no doubts that those planes do exist, and they have very clear, direct influence to our life. If you want something, you need to think about this. You need to project your vision in the future. And if you are doing this right way, then you will be given. But only, of course, if you are doing this in the right way. So then we can tell about our integrative consciousness of humanity. And we can tell about consciousness field. So we are like little cells in a network. Only all together, like human society, we can really do something. And all society are based on big groups of people. Amazon tribe can survive if they are lucky, but they can't organize civilization because they have no means to create big groups. Only when people can gather in big groups, and mostly in the cities, big settlements, then they can create civilization. And then this civilization can create next level of consciousness and next level of development. So it's an interesting topic. And of course, I can discuss on this topic for many hours. In October, it was a very interesting conference in Sweden, in nearby Uppsala. It was a conference of European Society of Scientific Exploration, conference on consciousness. And it was really top level presenters at this conference, both from Europe, from the United States. It was very, very interesting discussion at this conference of both conceptual ideas and practical experimental data, because you know that all conceptual ideas of consciousness now are based on quantum electrodynamics. we need to understand the difference between quantum mechanics and quantum electrodynamics. Quantum mechanics, it was great, of course, achievement of humankind. It was tremendous theory developed by the beginning of 20th century, but it was very, very limited theory. And Schrödinger equation allows to describe behavior of simple quantum systems, but doesn't allow to describe behavior of complicated quantum systems. So it was due to Robert Feynman, one more genius of 20th century, who developed this quantum electrodynamics. It is theory that allows to describe behavior of complex systems. And he applied this to gases. Then it was applied to crystals. Then it was applied to water. And this allows us to develop theoretical concepts now applied to consciousness. And as for water, it was another very interesting conference in Bulgaria, in Sofia, in September this year, led by Professor Jared Pollock, who is a great scientist, writer, and presenter. And this conference, it was meeting of many people who was developing this, who are developing this new science of water. And now with Professor Vayekov, we are preparing a book on this new science of water. And the name of this book would be A New Scientific Revolution, a Scientific Explanation of Homeopathy. Because now we have conceptual principles, we have theory based on quantum electrodynamics. This theory was developed by Emilio Del Giudice in Italy and Propagato. Unfortunately, they're not with us anymore, but it is really very precise scientific theory, and it was scientifically experimentally proven. So now we have a lot of experimental data on this topic. And of course, you know that another great scientist, Luc Montagnier, a Nobel Prize winner from France, is doing now a tremendous experiment on transformation of information from one water sample to another water sample. And in particular, his famous experiment is transformation of DNA information to pure water. And then later on, with Spitzer reaction, we can find DNA in this initially pure water. So it's another great achievement. And now this information may be transferred even by internet. So this again, tremendously interesting achievements of this coming this year. So you see that it was so many new development, and it's coming. Sometimes it's absolutely unusual. Just recently, I've been to United States, and there we stopped nearby hotel with my colleagues, and there I've seen the latest Tesla car, electrical car. And of course, it's absolutely futuristic car. It looks like from science fiction, but it's reality. It's reality of our everyday. So, and same as cars running without driver, again, it's reality. Again, it's coming to us, and I'm 100% sure that in 50 years, maybe, we'll have all our cars driving in not just on the roads, but in 3 dimensions. So it will be no traffic jams because we'll have these cars running in 3 dimensions. So again, as you see, it is a lot of very interesting development. And with BioWell, with our line, we have very good results. Now we have several thousand people who are using this BioWell simultaneously in the world. And we have very good, very interesting results in medicine, very good responses. And this year, together with Professor Dr. Michael Borkin, we developed a new concept of interpretation viable data. It is so named four-pillar concept of biowell, and it's based on analysis of four main, from our point of view, systems of the body. And now I'm finishing a book. Now it's in editing phase of these four pillars of health. And this book will be published by beginning of next year. So beginning of next year, I plan to have this book published on Amazon.com, and it will be available. This concept was tested at different workshops, seminars with many patients, of course, and it's based not just on my ideas, because I'm not a medical doctor, but it's based on ideas of very prominent world scientists and doctors, like Dr. Michael Borkin, Dr. Michael Galitzer, Professor Beverly Rubik, and many others. And it allows us to see absolutely new understanding of what we are measuring. And not only to take measurements, but even more than that, to give recommendations. Because we understand that the goal of any measurement, any diagnostic tool, any analysis to help people. So if you tell people, oh, I think that something in your liver, maybe it is something wrong, maybe it is some worm or something bad, just go somewhere. It's nonsense. The goal, not just to tell people about what may be wrong in their system, but to offer very precise step-by-step procedure. What should be done? So based on this new principle of interpretation, we are developing this procedure. It is in my book, and now I am developing together with, of course, all our team. We are developing new artificial intelligence program that would allow us to make these conclusions step by step. So of course it takes time, and because it's not just to write down algorithm and program, but it is important to test it with many patients, with many cases, and only then, when it is tested, to present it on big scale. So I'm sure it will take us maybe half a year, maybe more. It will be ready by next year somewhere, and it's a program that would allow you, based on viable measurements, to make not only conclusions but recommendations. What should be done step by step? This, it may be used by practitioners, it may be used by medical doctors, it may be used by people even at home. So it will be next level of great big development. So you see, it's all coming. It's all in our projects. It's all in our plans. This is real plans. Same as next level of biowell. We are part of the instruments that people will be using at home. Now, you know that it's a big trend now in new medicine. So more and the more responsibility in analysis comes to patients. We understand that it's impossible to go to doctor with any complaint. It's impossible to make analysis, complicated analysis very often. Plus, most of devices are not only expensive, but they are invasive. So idea to give people simple use devices that would allow to measure physiological parameters, and that would allow people to define unpleasant or dangerous situations. Now we have this more and more devices in the development of this kind on the market as well. Just recently it was big conference on this topic in Silicon Valley. and they are measuring many parameters. We are included in this line. We are measuring energy, and based on the principle, we can make this analysis. Of course, idea that people, lay people, they wouldn't see these results, but results would come through internet, through the cloud, to professionals, to analytical center, where it will be done this analysis, and then people will have these indications. Everything is good, green light, or please be careful, yellow light, or just call your doctor. And doctor would be able to call patient and ask him, oh, Mr. Johnson, what has happened today? Why do you have these bad indications? What did you do yesterday? Please tell me, what did you drink? What did you eat? What did you do with your wife and girlfriends? So you see, that's how it is. It's a big trend in the world now, how it is developing. And of course, it is based on our new development that we are testing in our labs, when we transform BioWell to mobile phones. And BioWell will be operating with mobile phones. Then, of course, it will make a lot of people much easier to use it. So this will be next year again. It is all in the process. It is all coming, and it will, I hope it will be big trend, because we have a lot of experience in this field. I can tell you, I can share with you that we have a lot of very good results in predictive analysis. We had very big research in big institution where it was shown that by measuring just 2 ring fingers, it is possible to predict potential miscarriage for pregnant ladies. Because signal from this ring finger, it is related for ladies with blood circulation in a womb area. So you can imagine, pregnant lady just rent this little device and take measurements every morning. And then again, green light, yellow light, red light. So what, and then only doctor can predict, can evaluate how dangerous is it. So we have many lines of this kind. And of course, we are restricted in development by FDA. You understand this? Because we should be very, very careful. Now we are in the process of FDA certification. It should be over by beginning of next year. And we are certified as a wellness, medical wellness device. So again, it's not for medical diagnosis. It's not allowed. But it is for medical analysis. Plus, of course, you can use BioCore device. And with BioCore, it is really very, very good, I would say, stress relief device. Again, it's part of wellness. This year, we had many good results with BioCore. We now have several hundreds of BioCore devices worldwide. And all responses are very positive, very good. It was many cases when people was able to relieve their stress. It was many cases when people was able to get out of insomnia that they had for many years and start sleeping normally. So we have no doubts that this is very good line. Now we plan to develop this line more and more. And in our projects to have several extra devices connected to BioWell. So it should be like a home medical system, overall home medical system. And we are moving to this. And of course, together with this, I would say, medical line, health line, well-being line, we're developing other lines. This year we had a big contract with Young Living Essential Oil Company. Maybe you know this company. This is the biggest in the world producer of essential oils. And in the process of preparing this system, we became very good friends with Gary Young and Mary Young, who are absolutely outstanding people. I has tremendous respect both to Gary and Mary, and just I've been to their home. I was invited to their family and very well accepted by them. And it is fantastic people, fantastic people. You know, that create this huge empire, $1 billion empire in a relatively short time, from nothing, from scratch. That is really amazing. Plus, Gary has many health issues, many health issues. We can, by BioWell, I was able to detect a lot of issues beforehand for him. And still, he is fighting. He is very active. He is very energetic. So that is example for all of us, that just by spirit, by your consciousness, you can really change the situation around yourself, and you can make your dreams true. Yesterday, with my dear wife, we've been at the concerts of Dmitry Korotkov and his friends. You know, he's one of the top level world singer, and we know we are following him for many years, and he's really top level. He was in Metropolitan Opera all the time. He was presenting with top level orchestra, top level singers. But 2 years ago, he was diagnosed with brain cancer. And you understand, it's very serious, unexpected, and grave situation. And he's fighting. He's fighting. He, of course, situation is very difficult for him. He's under chemotherapy now. He had surgery, but he's fighting. He's presenting. And it was a wonderful concert yesterday of Dmitry Korotkov and his friends. And it was several thousand people in the audience as a whole. And it was standing ovation for many minutes. So again, this is example for us that with our consciousness, with our intention, we can really change the world. We can change station. And I just want to show you, maybe we have some minutes, to show you some of our latest results. It was an experiment that we did recently, this autumn. And those experiments is two types of experiments. One experiment is measuring energy of space in different situations. Another experiment that I'm working, it is measuring response of sensors, and first of all, Sputnik sensor, water sensor, to consciousness. These type of experiments are now available to everybody because we have these devices, we have programs, we have technology, we have methodology, and now in our project to develop this all together, not in one laboratory, not just random experiments, but to make it in different parts of the world, to make it simultaneously all together, and then to have these results and to make meta-analysis. So let me show you some of our latest, just two latest experiments. We had many, but just two. Okay, so let's make it. Okay, now, yes, here we are. Do you see the screen? It's okay? Can you see the screen? I hope yes. I have no response, but I hope so. Okay, so this beautiful cathedral, it's one of the cathedrals in Moscow. You know that Russia, it is Orthodox country, and we have many beautiful churches, cathedrals. And in one of the cathedral, this beautiful one, we have this icon.
This icon was presented to Russia, Russian dukes, in 12th century. And this is holy icon for all Russian population, for all Orthodox population. And this Russian was kept in different churches. It survived many transformations of Russian history. In Soviet time, it was kept in Tretyakovsky Gallery in the museum. Then later on, quite recently, it was given back to church. So I was allowed to take measurements with Sputnik just nearby this icon. And please have a look. What do we have here? This is the moment, this measurement of Sputnik for more than 2 hours. And it was run in offline mode. So I was able to see results only later on after processing data, only several hours data. And of course, it was staying nearby the icon and no one touched it. And you see, in the beginning, people are gathering. And you see change of a signal. Then at this moment, it is beginning of Psalter reading, and you see this peak, you see response. But still, signal is changing, coming down, and it was several hundred people in the church gathering together. Then at this moment, it was choir that began thinking. Beautiful Russian choir. Here, beginning of the service. Here you see this huge peak, beginning of a sermon by a high priest. It's a beautiful priest, beautiful, wonderful person. I know him. And then it was lasted all this Russian ceremony for several hours. And this is the end of ceremony. So you see, it was a response of a sensor to main moments of this ceremony. And we discussed this with one of my friends, physicists, and he told, okay, what would you expect? You have several hundred people in the church, and people are breathing, people are standing in Russian churches. So what would you expect? I told him, okay, would it be the influence of human evaporation, human breathing? Then we would have increase of signal or decrease of signal all the time. But we have quite stable signal. So it means that it's not response to human activity, it's response to something else, even more than that. Later, I've done measurements in this same church, but outside of the icon. And you see, those two lines, this is time dynamics of a signal, Sputnik signal, outside of the icon. And this, number one, it is nearby the icon. And you see the difference. It's really big difference. And then, of course, it has tremendous influence to human beings. It was a person before and after this ceremony, after 2 hours of staying there in the church. Then at night, I was done measurement in another cathedral in Moscow during organ concert, and it was response of signal to all moments of the concert. Next days, together with my friends and colleagues, we were able to come to different cemeteries in Moscow and took measurements nearby several graves, and particularly nearby the grave of Chekhov. You know, Chekhov, he is a great Russian writer, famous writer, playwright, and he's one of my favorites. I've read all his writings, I've seen all his plays, and I know all his biography in details. And you see, this is a big difference. Those are number 1, 2 measurements in the church and the cathedral, and those are measurements nearby at the cemetery. One cemetery and another cemetery, and you see huge difference. We have a special parameter and the name of environmental activity. And this parameter has very low value in the church, very stable, very low, and quite high, more than 200 at the cemeteries. So you see big difference. At the same time, it's interesting. Together with my son Kirill, quite recently we've been to Jerusalem, and we came to the temple, and we did measurement with Sputnik at the top of the temple, nearby the Copts church, and there this parameter was 380, so much higher even. So it means it is so interesting. While in nearby the sea, this parameter was around 60, 80, 100, not more than that. So you see, it is indication that with our Sputnik, we can really take measurement of very interesting, it's in Italian, I don't need it. Very interesting processes, and we can detect a lot of tremendously interesting processes. Let me show you one more experiment. Let me show you, I need to find it. Here it is. You see, this experiment was done in St. Petersburg in September. And the idea was that we had 11 people in Moscow, Penza, and Belgrade, so more than 700 kilometers from St. Petersburg, who was sending their intentions from 11 to 11:30 a.m. for half an hour to our lab. And the two BioWell devices in parallel was operating from 8:40 in the morning till 6 p.m. in offline mode. So I turned on those both devices, and then I closed the room, so no one was present in the room. And you see, this every bar, it is half an hour measurement, average half an hour. And this is area for two sensors. You see, signal is increasing from the morning, and at the moment of sending intention, it strongly decreases. And then it has some behavior later on. You see, absolutely clear effect. With standard deviation, it is different. It is increases, highly increased at the moment of intention, and then it decreased. So you see, it was very precise, very clear experiment, and very clear results. So again, it's indication for us that our consciousness has absolutely direct influence to the world. That with our consciousness, we can change the world. We can change not only other people, but we can change environment. And we need to remember this, because if we do this with positive intentions, then we have very strong positive influence. If you do it with negative intentions, then of course it may be devastating not only for other people, but for individuals. So please remember this, because now we have Christmas coming, we have New Year coming. It will be great celebrations, big celebrations, and let's make it a special event. Let us be prepared for the next year. Let's be ready for this, and let's have a lot of new interesting achievements in the next year. Okay, so now we have time for questions. As I know, we need to have questions from your side, from you, and I'm ready to answer. Okay.
Dr. Korotkov, this is François from Vancouver, Canada. Thank you for the presentation. We're noticing right now there's a lot of different chaotic climate changes right now on the planet, all over the planet. And it seems to correlate very well with your understanding that consciousness affects climate. So would you say there's a very strong correlation with the instability right now on a political, economic level on the planet, where people's consciousness affects the climate on the planet?
Okay. you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, you are absolutely right. Those are interrelated situations. Chaotic transformation of climate and chaos that we have in our societies worldwide. But this is, to my mind, it's not that we are influencing climate. And it's not climate influencing us. It's much more than that. We are part of universal cosmic system. So we are under the influence of huge energy rays from the cosmos, from the universe. And this energy coming from the cosmos has tremendous influence to our solar system, to behavior of sun, to our Earth situation, geomagnetic situation on the Earth, to transformation of climate, and to us as a part of the system. So we are part of the cosmic system. So if we have turmoil in the universe, if we are in this part of the universe, then the turmoil in our Earth, in our society. This idea was first proposed by our Russian scientist Alexander Chizhevsky in 1924. He published a book in France, in Paris, Earth's Echo of Cosmic Storms, where he demonstrated very clear correlation between number of dots on the Earth, on the Sun, and different situation in the Earth. In economics, in history. Later on, he published another paper, big paper, that he demonstrated correlation with political situations, political events, revolutions. For this, he was arrested by Stalin regime, was put in jail in concentration camp, but he survived and was able to make a lot of interesting scientific achievements. So again, from my point of view, now we are in the process of tremendous climate transformation, tremendous. No doubts in global, and it's a huge process. But it's not just linear process. It has nothing to do with our human activity. It's gases. It's all nonsense. It's all just bullshit. It is cycles that we have and we had all over the history of the Earth. At my lectures on this topic, I like to show pictures by Holland painter Bruegel from 16th century, on the age of 16th, 17th century, where we see Holland covered with snow, with all rivers totally frozen. And you know that skiing and skating was invented in Holland by that time. So it was time of so-named little age in Europe. And it was very cold climate in Europe by that time for several centuries. And it was time of great development of Europe. Because again, it's very well known that when we have cold climate, we have big development of civilization. When we have warm climate, we have decline and chaos, what we have now. Now we are in the cycle, still in the cycle of this warming, global warming. That's very well connected with chaos and turmoil that we have in our societies worldwide. Okay.
Thank you. May I just ask another question, if I may? There's a lot of cell phone usage now, or cell phone towers, or Gwen towers, or Wi-Fi now. And there's evidence now that all these signals are affecting the human cells. Having said that, have you noticed an increase in the effect of cell phones or Wi-Fi on your clients or your patients or in your research with your biowell?
Okay, so of course, at many conferences when I'm presenting, those are people who are presenting materials and data on devastating effect of cell phones. And we know it is increase of brain cancer, it is increase of child disease, it is increase of electromagnetic. So it is no doubt that electromagnetic fields, when they are not properly used, they may be damaging. No doubt. At the same time, from other hand, we are having development of mobile phones at least for 20 years now. Now we have billions of mobile phones worldwide. We have Wi-Fi. We have technical electromagnetic fields. So would it be so dangerous? Then we all would have died. But we are still alive somehow. And some of us are in good health. And I hope all of us will be. So what does it mean? It means selection. People was very sensitive to electromagnetic field. And of course, for those people, it may be tremendous. In particular, no doubts. It may be dangerous for pregnant women at some trimesters. It may be tremendously dangerous for young children, for babies. No doubt. It is mostly devastating, dangerous at night when you sleep and your system is open. And of course, it all depends on amplitude, the power of the field you are in, on frequency, on the way how it is chaotic. So it's many, many factors. Of course, if people have big antenna staying nearby their house, of course it would be devastating. In Russia, in Soviet Union, it was very strict regulations, and there are still. It was totally forbidden any human activity on the high power electrical lines. Totally. Because it was demonstrated that it is really very strong effect on health. No other country except for Soviet Union, Russia, had these regulations. That is why you go to France, you go to Holland, you go to Belgium, you see kindergartens just under those lines. And of course, this is dangerous, just dangerous. So that is why, again, we have a new factor in our environment. Only for the last 20 years. Now, of course, we need to understand whether it is dangerous, whether it is beneficial, or whom is how. Someone will survive and be stronger, someone will die, for sure, no doubt. And again, we have many data, we have no doubts, experimental results. And with your consciousness, with your attention, with your attitude, you can influence this process for yourself and for your environment. And you can transform negative factors into positive. So, because our consciousness has tremendous power. Okay? Questions? Okay, you're welcome.
So, just one turn. So may I ask a question?
Yes, okay.
Okay, thank you very much. So I was just reading before that due to experiments was made by the Health Math Institute in California. You may have heard about it. They have 14 units distributed in the whole world, measuring the collective human consciousness. And they were recognizing that one day before the event of 9/11, that the human consciousness was giving completely different data, as if the human consciousness collectively is not only able to change the physical reality, but it was also able to feel changes in the collective consciousness of the humanity due to the intention of the people who were attacking the two towers. If you have any comments on this.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It is very well known data, very well known experiments, and there are several global systems of this kind who are trying to measure the influence of different events. So again, no doubts that our consciousness, collective consciousness, has influence to the environment. No doubts at all. In Russia, we had very interesting experiments by a big group of people who was flying on the special military airplane on the high altitudes, much higher than commercial airplanes. And in this altitude, the level of radioactivity is quite high. By collective meditation by a group of people, they were able to reduce this level of radioactivity in the plane. It was a repeatable experiment. So when we have big events, then of course it is detectable. And we can detect it with our Sputnik device, we can detect with different devices. And you know that now the biggest events in the world, those are World Championship. When in India, they have championship on cricket, it is the biggest event maybe in the world. Because you know that it's 1 billion people who are involved in these championships. World Football Championship, some big games, maybe in the United States, you know, that American football. So, and it's all detectable. Now, of course, these are just, I would say, chaotic activity of human consciousness. And the main organizers, those are big business in sport. They are organizing this. At the same time, all the sensors, they respond not only to human consciousness, but to environmental station as well. And we have a lot of data that they respond to earthquakes, big earthquakes. They respond to volcano eruptions. So to distinguish it is very difficult. But what's important? Only now in 21st century, we are developing this science of consciousness. And now it is big scientific trend. We transformed from parapsychology to science. We have many lines in this science. We have materialistic science. We have more, I would say, holistic lines. And it will take us many, many years to come to some concepts, real concepts, but it will be done. Because you know that what's the difference between just observation that we are having now from real scientific data? Observations. Okay, now after 9/11, it's very easy to tell, oh, beforehand it was possible to detect it with some sensors. But only when based on some measurements, we would be able to predict something, then it would be scientific. And it's happening, it will happen. So we are slowly moving to this altogether. It's not just one laboratory, it's not just one group. It is many scientific groups in the world now. Finally, we have good response in scientific community, in society. And I'm sure that after several decades, we would be able to develop this scientific line. Okay, a couple of more questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hasham. Okay. Yes, you're welcome. Maria, just regulate.
Francois?
Yes, Dr. Korotkov, I have another question. Regarding dark matter, is there any, can Sputnik, or are you planning to create a device that can measure the effects of dark matter on human consciousness?
Very good question. Very, very good. Would someone know what does it mean dark matter? Then we would have developed this device. Unfortunately, you know, it was, I would say, discovered experimentally only just a decade ago. You know that dark matter was predicted by Einstein in his equation, but he decided that it's nonsense. So he just deleted this part of equation. Now we have it. It was proven, but how we can develop some device if we don't know what does it mean? so maybe at some moment when we would be able to put our sensors on satellites, then we would be able to have some effect on dark matter. But of course, it's only next steps. You know that we have great scientists, Simeon Schnoll, Russia, who has developed this tremendously important data on the influence of cosmic activity on a very subtle process on the Earth. We just had this discussion recently about this data. It is one concept that it may be detection of the influence of dark matter, maybe, but it's only a concept. So, but it's interesting, it's amazing. To me, it's tremendously important and wonderful topic that all previous concepts of cosmophysics was destroyed, totally destroyed. It is great because it means that we are moving to a new stage of our understanding. Slowly, it will take us maybe decades, maybe I wouldn't survive till that time, but it is great. Because when they declare in Academy of Science that everything is known, then this is devastating. When they declare, they have to accept that unfortunately all our previous concept was wrong. That is very good. That is a beginning. So let's hope for this. Okay.
If I may ask one last question, I'm sorry, since I'm here. You've heard about indigo children or star children, those that are born right now apparently have a higher level of consciousness or DNA activation. Have you found in your measurements of these children or these people with your bio instruments?
You see, very good question, very good question. But if you are interested in this question, if Maria and all the team decide that it's a good topic, I am ready to next hour in our meeting develop to this topic. Because it's not just the simple answer. It is very, very important and interesting topic, what's going on with children. I'm involved in this research, and we're meeting with scientists, with doctors, with psychologists, neuropsychologists, discussing this topic. So it is very important, very dangerous situation, and very exciting situation. So again, if you decide, then maybe at some moment next year, we'll be able to have this hour and discussing this topic. I will be happy to present you a lot of data on this topic. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Korotkov. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Next one. Next question.
Hi, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, very good, Jim.
Oh, hi, Jim from Victoria, British Columbia,
Okay.
right next door to Francois.
Yes, please.
And I'm just wondering if you had any comments about the phenomenon of the Mandela effect, if it's related to human consciousness or if it's something else.
You mean Mandela effect?
The Mandela effect, yeah, where people remember things differently.
Yes. I know this topic. Yes, of course. It is related to human consciousness. It is one of the many effects of consciousness that we don't understand at all. At the same time, it is not enough real data on this topic. Because you know that to understand something, at least to have concept, we need to collect data, and it takes time. So that's why I'm very cautious about this type of effects when you have some data on internet, some evidences, but it's not really conclusive.
Okay.
You know that internet now, it's a big garbage. You can find everything there. You can find mostly garbage, but in this garbage, sometimes you can find diamonds. Mostly if you know how to look for. So that's why I think, I have no doubt it's related to human consciousness, but still I haven't seen enough real data to have some conclusions about this topic.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
Thank you. My question about the effect of the geopathic stress zones, the geopathic lines which is stressing detrimentally the human health as one of the sources where we would be physically up to emotionally sick. And my question is about how we can benefit from the combination of using the BioWell device and the Sputnik together in order to measure these zones, and if there is an additional modality to harmonize these zones to make living at home more healthy, how we can then remeasure and see the difference on the diagrams between existing of the stressing energy coming from the earth light and after harmonizing these areas. There's some experiments about this.
Yeah, very good question. Okay. So, you know, in Russia, we have science of studying geopathic zones. I can show you 1 second. I can show you one book. Do you see this book? This book in Russian, of course, but the name of the book, Geoactive Zones of Finno-Scandinavia. And it's written by several colleagues of mine. And those are really very good colleagues, very good professors. And it is big research. You see, it's big book. It's big book. Results of big research done on geopathic zones in Scandinavia, including St. Petersburg. And it is, we have this research for many years. We are involved in this research. We are using different instrumentations, not only Sputnik, but Sputnik is very good instruments for this type of research. So now, if you know our software, we have this parameter, environmental activity. To take this parameter, you need to take measurement at least for 35-40 minutes, at least. Then you need to define 3 intervals in processing. 3 intervals, it's important as well. And one of the intervals should be for half an hour, 30 minutes. Then we are calculating standard deviation in this 30 minutes time, and we define this parameter. And then software shows you whether it is green, yellow, red zone. And this is based on several years of research, big research, as I've shown you. It's a big book published that was allowed us to correlate this measurement with activity of geoactive and geopathic zones. So there are areas beneficial for life, and there are areas dangerous for life, and it's very devastating for life. And of course, if we understand whether it is good or bad, then we can apply some different means to balance this situation. And again, we have a lot of data. We have very good friends and colleagues who are developing these different energy devices, starting from pyramids of this different size up to different devices. And you can find those on the internet, in human light system as well, this type of devices that can balance environment. And then again, we need to repeat measurement with Sputnik and see effect. I never believe in claims. When someone claims, oh, this is a wonderful device. Okay, guys, very good. Let's measure it before and after. And you see effect. Whether if you have positive effect of this particular device, then it's okay, wonderful. If not, then it's nonsense. Once, of course, we should remember that the most important for all of us, it is our bedroom. It is place where we sleep. And it is combination of different factors. Of course, it is the influence of geoactive zones itself, but at the same time, it is air, it is humidity, it is amount of negative and positive ions, it is level of noise, it is level of light, it is level of ultrasound, infrasound, electromagnetic noise. So, you see, it's a combination of factors. So, I really ask you to pay most attention to your bedrooms. Take measurements with Sputnik in the bedroom. And then you need to decide whether it is good for you to stay in this place, or it is maybe it needs some attention, transformation. So it is really very important. So you have everything right now. You have this in manuals. Manuals are available, so it's all methodology is over there. We have a lot of results. Now I'm I will put on Amazon.com new edition of my book, The Energy of Space. And there I present new data that was collected in last time. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, very good. So I hope that, okay, one more question. Okay, that's one. Please.
Hi, Dr. Korotkov. I'm just wondering, you take into account the Schumann resonance in the effect as it increases on an environment, on people?
Sorry, I don't understand your question.
The Schumann resonance of the ionosphere between the Earth and space changes. And I personally find it quite, I feel it in my own body. So I'm just wondering, does the Sputnik assess that in some way?
You see, you are right. The influence of geomagnetic situation, it is tremendous. And the most important for our health, it's not just the level of this geomagnetic activity, but it's what I mean. It was found, and we have really serious, interesting data, that at the moment when geomagnetic fields became very stable, those are the most negative influence to human consciousness. The most negative. And of course, it depends on many factors. And first of all, it depends on cosmic factors. This has nothing to do with our conscious activity, but it has tremendous influence on our conscious activity. So again, we are part of the cosmos. We are part of the universe. And universe has tremendous influence on every moment of our life. Now we are just developing by ourselves on the Earth. I'm sure that we are supervised by higher civilizations, but it's understandable that for them we are in kindergarten. We are just little children playing in the sand. We still need several thousand years of development to come to next level of civilization, where and when will be accepted to this universal love. Let's hope that maybe it will happen even with us. Okay. Okay, very good. So I was really happy to see all of you, not maybe all. I was really, again, I really appreciate organizers of Human Life System who done it, because to me it's very important for all of us to meet together like this, to have this type of discussions, to share results, to share ideas, different ideas. And of course, we need to understand everything that I've told you now, it is just my visions, my ideas. So you may have absolutely different, and it's very good. The more different opinions we have, the better. This would allow us to develop. Only in interactivity, intercommunication, will be able to move forward. So let's do this. Let's do this together. So happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and let's move all together to next year. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Korotkov, for the exciting webinar. And you guys join our course if you are interested in the Human Life System online course. And also, I would like to tell you that we have a special offer for all of you, the 20% discount during this Christmas week for any products of the GW Planet, including the course. So use this opportunity to buy whatever you want and give yourself a present. Thank you. Have a nice evening or day.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.